Welcome to 10 Words of Wisdom, the place where a picture is worth 1,000 words, so you get, 1% of the picture. 10 Words of Wisdom is going to be a game on YouTube where several contestants regularly compete in contests. Contestants will be eliminated each episode until there's just one winner. What does that winner win? Wisdom! But in all honesty though, I don't know yet. I'll have to decide soon. I know a lot of you are thinking,
this sounds a lot like Baguette!
Well, Baguette is cancelled. Sorry about that, it just had to be done. I mean, the last Baguette video was over 2 years ago, so it's likely a few contestants are no longer active on YouTube anymore. Plus, I, and probably many of you, have forgotten many of the rules or even who's still in the game. So yeah, Baguette's over. You can think of 10 Words of Wisdom as Baguette's reboot. That being said, if you were a Baguette contestant and would like to participate on the show, do not fear, all Baguette gelatins are guaranteed a spot onto TWOW! More on that later. Let me explain how 10 Words of Wisdom works. We start with many contestants. This time, they're books. Every episode consists of 2 parts, A and B. At the end of each B part, I will give the contestants a prompt, such as most uplifting story, which they must answer in 10 words. This will be through YouTube PMs. In the next A part, I will display the responses anonymously to you, the viewers. You'll vote on them from best to worst. I'll get to how you vote when the time arises. But aren't you glad? You only have to read 100 words total, not sift through dozens of blocks of text and or pages upon pages of images. Anyway, in the interim between the A and B parts of an episode, I'll tally up the votes. Then, in the B part, I will reveal who submitted which stories and rank them from best to worst based on the votes. The contestant with the worst voted response will be eliminated. No further voting, no second chances, nothing. That's it. And then I'll give the next episode's prompt and the cycle repeats. Here are a few rules about rules. What happens if you, a contestant, go over the 10-word limit? Will you get a penalty? Nope. I'll highlight your mistake in the video, but there will be no official point deduction. Now voters, this is where you come in. If you see a mistake in a submission, you should place it lower in your rankings. How much lower? As much as you think is appropriate. But preferably a lot. Similar logic applies for if you misspell, combine, or make up words, or if the prompt is like, write about ice cream without the letter E and you use an E on accident. Also, some other guidelines. Do not reveal which submission is yours with comments or videos when the voting is taking place. That removes the anonymity. What will happen if you do? The voters will take you down. Right, voters? Right. I told you guys earlier about how the contestant with the lowest voted submission will be eliminated. But I want to reward you guys, not just punish you. So if you get the highest voted submission, you'll get a prize that will help in future gameplay. What happens if you don't submit your response in time? With Baguette, I was a bit more lenient. But now, all you have to do is type 10 words. There's no excuse. It's easier to send a response than to type out a reason why you couldn't send a response. So if you don't submit anything to me in time, you will automatically be eliminated. The spot will not be opened up for new contestants because that encourages people to quit to let their friends on. Finally, how do you sign up? Well, here comes the big twist of TWOW. If you're watching this before December 15th, you're already an eligible contestant. I will actually be accepting an unlimited number of day 1 entries. That means you guys will be eliminated off pretty quickly. Every episode, the bottom 20% will leave the show. Once we get down to the final 10, the game will change a bit, but I'll deal with that later. For now, you've just got to make your best first impression. The first prompt? What happened to the 31st of November? Send me a YouTube PM that clearly shows your 10-word response by December 15th, 2015 at 10 PM UTC, and you will become an official TWOW contestant. Returning Baguette contestants, if you are still in by Baguette 6B, note that in your PM, and I'll give you a 10 percentage point advantage in round 1. Also, I'm going to use your real YouTube usernames, which is different than in Baguette. It'll just be so much simpler that way. If you joined too late and didn't make it on the show, and you really want to be on, don't worry. If demand is high enough, I might do more than one season. Lastly, I don't have a schedule for when following 10 Words of Wisdom videos will be up, but they'll definitely be more regular than Baguette episodes. So tune in next time when our contestants' first responses will be revealed in TWOW 1A. Hi guys, so there's this little problem with TWOW recently. First, some context. You guys sent in a lot more responses than I expected, over 300. Anyway, due to a bug in YouTube's messaging system, I can only see about the 250 most recent messages, which means I can't find most of you who submitted early on. However, I can still find older messages by searching for those messages. By using the search bar, I can find messages from months ago. So I need your help. If you did send a TWOW response on time, you need to send me another PM, either restating your response or just mentioning that you had earlier, because with your username, I can then find your original PM. If you don't do this, I won't be able to find your TWOW response, and you, unfortunately, won't be on TWOW. I'm super sorry for this inconvenience. I hadn't predicted YouTube would only show so few messages. Oh, by the way, Michael and I started a new YouTube channel called Zach Bone Productions, which covers content that we made from 2005 to 2009. In other words, the pre-BFDI era. You should go check that out. Okay, that's it. Bye. Welcome to TWOW 1A. If you don't know what's going on, go watch TWOW 0. Now let's get started. 491 of you sent me responses and are now official contestants of TWOW. I'm showing you all of your YouTube usernames on the screen right now. Just for fun, I'll try to read all your usernames out loud, but that'll take a long time, so that's coming at the end of this video. Some of you specified how you want your book to look. Unfortunately, I can't fulfill your wishes until we get down to the final 20, because 491 unique requests would be too much to deal with. For the time being, you're just colored based on the first two characters of your name. A is red, cycling through the rainbow, so that M is cyan, and then Z is also red. If you submitted a TWOW response, but you don't see your name here, sorry. YouTube's messaging system isn't perfect, and I'm still learning how to manage it too. It's not the end of the world that you're not a TWOW contestant now, because I might have more seasons later. Okay, on to the voting, which is what you all came here for. The voting deadline will be December 30th, 2015 at 10 PM UTC. That's right. If you're a contestant, you can vote. If you're not a contestant, you can still vote. Everyone can vote. Here's how. See that arrow at the bottom of the screen? Well, when that arrow reaches the green region, that'll be the voting portion of this video. When we get there, I want you to pause in a random spot in that region. You can choose the beginning, the middle, the end, it's completely up to you. Just try to choose randomly. When you pause, you'll see 10 randomly selected anonymous TWOW responses labeled A through J. Read them and rate them from best to worst. Remember, you should judge how well they address the prompt, "What happened to the 31st of November?" We are looking for responses that are clever, creative, poetic, funny, and so on. Now, here's what you type in your comment. Start it off with an opening square bracket. Then, type the keyword you see in the upper right corner. It's just some random English word that will help me identify what the letters in your response actually mean. Without the keyword, your vote will be useless, so don't forget it. Add a space. Next, type your ratings from best to worst, like this, where A corresponds to the response next to A, B corresponds to the response next to B, and so on. You don't need to rate all 10, but you can if you like. Finally, cap it off with a closing square bracket. The brackets help me identify that it's a vote. You can add anything else in your comments, and you can even vote more than once if you see some other responses you'd like to have your say on. But if you vote multiple times, just realize your voting power will be spread over all your votes. Why make such a complex system? Well, this way, when you see other people's votes in the comments, you won't know what responses they're voting on. Since you'll probably land on a different keyword than other voters, you'll be voting on a different set of responses, and you won't be influenced by peer pressure. Furthermore, TWOW contestants themselves can still vote. If a contestant sees their own response, they can even put their response first in their vote, and other viewers still won't know which response that is because of the different keywords. This preserves anonymity in responses. If you're worried the system's not fair because your response might be competing against really good rivals in one episode and really bad rivals in another, just rest assured that the fact that everything is completely random means that there is no bias. Furthermore, most responses appear at least 20 times in this video, so everything pretty much evens out in the end. Finally, I also have a word count next to each response. This is just a guide for you, and it's automated, which means you should really double check before ranking a response low for going over the word limit. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so this is how each person's average percentile will be calculated. Former Baguette contestants, That Commenter, Dakila Bunnies, Nihao Gailan, Steve Minecraft46, Mike and Kanikel, Matter Vincent, Taopone H6427, and Dylan Multiproduction will each get a 10 percentage point advantage in TWOW 1. Like I said earlier, the bottom 20% of contestants will be eliminated. That means the 98 of you with the lowest percentiles will be kicked out of TWOW. I don't know about you, but I think that must be some kind of world record for YouTube camps. Not quite in the triple digits, but almost. Oh, and what's the prize? Well, the top 10 contestants will get to write 2 responses for TWOW 2, and only the higher rated one will count. This greatly decreases the chance of elimination, and greatly increases the chance of a second prize. If there's a tie for 10th place, everyone in the tie will get the prize. So that's it. Have fun voting, and now I'm going to say every TWOW contestant's username. Sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. The contestants of TWOW Season 1 are MNI Tron Crusher, Mr. Sunny, 10 Gamer Guy, 1Kick234, 2004 Froggy CPAJ, 2 Noob Friends, 4613 Theo, 6J108, A Doctor Who, AN9K, Aaron Rubin, Achu, Ads 13,000, Ahahaha G, Aiden C, Aka777, Alex K9, Alex Lion 0511, Ali 161102, Alien Dude 321, American Camper, Andrew Ratslaff, Andy Pham, Andy Man 620, an Epic Rashiram RBLX ... Animation Field, Animation Artist, Animation Created, Animation Epic, Ann Ant, Anonymous Mango, Anton Christensen, Anya the Artist, Aqua Volpez, Asher, Azriel Avenue, August MK7, Austin Eastwood, Autocats, Awesome Animator, Awesomeness 765, Awesomes 53, Bog Maba of ... Banapple Dog, Based Zach, Battle for Something ... Bazinga 9000, Bean Me 100, Beast Mode On, Ben 1178, Ben Daryaku, BFDI Boyers for the win, Binary Bubble Gaming, Black Phantom, Bling Popo, Bloon 104, Blue Lucario 98, Book 81 Abel, BR Miller, Bra Me, Brady Chan, Brand Utger, Brandon Olog, Brendan Glasscock, Brett Smart 58, Brian Roden, Bryce Schmai ... Bubble Stars, Bun Puffy, Butter Flamingo, Cactus Power, Kalos 11, Camps Official 123, Carol Addington, Carrot Kid 08, Casper Coster, Cats and Dogs 333, Chavo Mixel Commentary, Checkerboards MC, Chi Chi Knits, Christian DeWeaver, Sid Styles, Citing Ostrich, Strident ... Cobalt Game Mixer 676, Colin Ho, Commenting Evie, Computer 2468, Connor O'Malley, Koo Ha, Cool Chansey, Cool Mac Gaming, Cool Guy 20 million, Crafty 7, Crazy Cyan Waffle, Crystal the Cool, Cube Bag, Psyduck, Cyan Drop, Cyfree Dinol, Dakilla Aiden, Dakilla Bunnies, Dalton Bloodrose, Dan Rubber Ducky 800 ... Dancing FB 18, Daniel or Death BFRIS ... Dan the Stripe, David Rykan, D and Ed, Deep Data 1, Dennis Kogevnikov, Devoid Amoeba, Diamond Cup 67, DJ Beta, Dombie Brains, Donnie Melton, Don't Vote in the Comments, Duck Wrath, Dylan Multiproduction, Ian Eastone, East 3 My Way, Edtrin Gaming, Electric Pichu, L Fireball 42, Emation 1, Emperor Magenta, Ender Dragon, Eric Facet, Evan Skolnick, Everest Animations, Evil Orso, Avian Wigant, Experimental Account, Fatih Erdem Kazil Kaya, Farak, Fireproof Potatoes, Fiery, first name is Coetz, Flare on the Flare On, Frog Eats Games, Fry UAJ, Funky Doge, Funny Boy 044, FUUUU Man 01, Gabe LaSalle, Geister Furs 007, Geometry Dash Block ... Geometry Dash Demo ... Gizmo the Gamer, Golden Minecraft 29, Golden Zumi, Grand Landmaster, Green Ninja Lizard 123, Green Tree, God Piga, Hamazan Naruto, Harry Odiakosa, Hazel Cricket, Henrique Prestis, Henry Scott, Hey Look Instead Meta ... Hugh SC Boy 103, Hurry Churry, HV Let's Play, Hyades Animations, I Made This Channel Faux ... I Animate 38, Leet Pie Productions, Infinity Snaps, Iron Cow Tom, Isaiah Y, It's So Fluffy, Isaac Castro, Iselpox, Izumi Yoshida, J Dude, Jack Orange, Jack Spiro, Jacob Schuazernus, Jacob Thomas, Jacob Ward, Jacob the Person, Jamie Mora Lorca, Jake Bolo, Jake Gay ... James James, Jamie Keen, J Bud, Jill 77, Jennings As Yet United, Untitled, Jerry 76 Likes Trees, Jerusalem Stray Cat, John Dubuck, John Mars 4D Jump M ... John Petrucci, Joseph TNT Creeper, Joseph Howard, Josh 9969, Joshua Wong, Joshua the Magician, Ja ... Matalk, Justin Lowe, Just the Bomb, Just the ... Justin Rodriguez, Candy Creeper, Kashif Chaudhry, Casper Christensen, Kathy Bennett, KCalGamer 53, Ken Kidsy 128, Kenneth Ruff, Kennyplex Interworld, Kid Gaming, Kirby Rider 1337, Krangle, Krishna Mandel, Kerping Space Productions, Kyle Hubbard, Kyle Lazorko, Kyle Stubbs, Lance Alip, Lance Craig, Lotriv Gaming, Law Dog, Lego TD61, Lampamo, Length X Width, Leo O'Connor, Leonardo Vieira de So ... Lil Sar 00, Living Pyramid, Loftix, Loon Ya Lee, Lori Peterman, Chaos Control, LP Carver, Lucid Sigma, Lucas Chan, Luke C, Pen BFDI, Linden Fan, Eminem Awesome, Moose, May Young, Magical Genie, Mangled Object, Mapmaker Mapping P ... Marview, Marco Mora Iorca, Mario Brosa Productions ... Mason Leo, The Pie Guy 3 ... Master of Zorro Arc, Matthew Eon, Matter Vincent Servicin ... Matthew Doan, Max McKee, Medusa YT, Meester Twister, Metalman Studios, Michael McQuay, Midnight Light, Mike Ramsey, Mike and Kanikel, Milo Jacket, Minecraft Player, Minecraft with Kitties, Mine Wraith, Min Nguyen Net, Minua the Adventurer, Minzel, Mista Faun, Mr. Jake Star, Call, Mick 13, Mortuary Manager, Mr. Leafy the Leafon 2, Mr. M Gamer, Mr. Taco Laser, Mudkipian Emperor, Nowtronics, Nashreek Akmal, Nate Animations, Nathan Hahn, Nathan Show, Nathan T, Nazrinrenator, Nihao Gailan, Nick Grant, Nico Balint, Nitro Ninja, Noah Alperovitz, Noob with a Fez, Not a Gaming Channel, Not Pro, Nova Cobb X22, Number Derp, Numero Uno Apple, Object Awards, Object Dude 73, Objects vs Minecraft, Official Confused Sign ... Omega Psi, Oprah Gives You a Flow ... Oscar Field, Paco Man, Paint Spot in Fez, Panda Dude 12345, Panzer Inversion, Pegasus 6540, Penguin Studios, Peter N, Phantom Infinity, Phantastrophe, Phantom Jax, Pie McPie, Pie Plays, Ping Pong Cup Shots, Piplup Fan 32, Plasma Empire, Plute Adrian, Poilik 098, Pokelol 97, Pokemon Manic 3595, Pokemon Walking Dead, Pock Power 8, Popcorn, Puffquit, Quinn Ruddy, Quinson Han, Corby King, Rainbow Drug, Raining Plates, Ram Turtle, Random 57877, Ransingen Master 23, Ray Lover 9462, Recent Snowfall, Red Adam A Anything Red Braloom, Red Ted Gaming, Reed Posy, Retro Boy, Revaloja 753 Magnavox, Rex Cavalier Sprite, Rich Color, Ridge RR4, Riley, Rinkrat02, Rock Dude MKW, Roger Houses, Roger 6, Roman Neal, Ronan Sandoval, Roston 11, Ruby Ninja, Run Toast Run and Toast Ryan Chow, Sam Baker the Cool 12 Sam Belinge, Sam Lee, Samer Gamer, Sam Phone Chung, Samuel Argar, Sandro Shubititziha, Sawi Go, SBEM 14, SC9849, Science Freak Productions Scrooty 6362161296, Sean Leung, Shawnee Boy, Sergeant Snivy, Seth Rollins, Shannon Spriggs, Sharon Kiss, Shattered Pixel, Shaman Lover, Shiny Stoutland, Silver Knight, Silver Koopa 888, Silver Lighter 11, Skybox 101, Skymix RMT, Smileyworks Company, Snoop Frog, Snowball BFDI, Snowrunt Lover, Solarbolt 4 the Shiny R Some Nerd the Pie Guy, Susie Speed Goy, Spicy-Man 33, Sequel Slammer, Statin 6, Stalemate, Stanley Ha, Stanley Jr. Ha, Starsphere 08, Stefan Eijgalar, Steven Kaminar, Steve Minecraft 46, subscribed us Super Turtle 408, Supreme Golden Rockies, Swim Swum, Tachi Banana, Tai Mao, Tak Ajnin, Tantusaur, Taupone H6427, Tardis the TARDIS, TD Swaggy Boy, Te Pizza Man, That Commenter, That Comedy Kid, Great the All-Rounder Marb the Fun Gang, the Foo Tech Hacker, the Slime Bros, the Worst Person in the Awesome Dude, the Awesomeness Dude, the Cacti God O, the Cat's So Nice, the Donuts 42, the Drive Reendin, the Elemental Raccoon, the Gino Yoshi, the IT Chap, the Kimpest Show, the Cool Kid 209, the Magical KB Man, the Mighty Midge, the Nameless Channel, Theo L, the Red Army, the Super Bouncy Balls, the T-Grod Z, the YouTube Dude 101, This Is My Name, Tile is Cool, Tim638, Timothy Salloway, Tim Video 326, Toad 8508, Tornasage Bladestorm, Totalcraft, Truddle1, TT Guy 10000, Tumble, Tyler Chai, Yue Hong Wong, Ulysses Castillo, Varth EDM, Vaughn P, VCR San, Victini and Infinity Pro ... Villager Number 9, Vincent Valor, Vivek Saravanan, Vladik Huck, Voyager Studio, Waterbrickcraft WBC ... Webs for Revs / excellent ... YJ, What the Derp, Whisker Rando, Whole Wheat, Who Needs a Name, Wi-Fi Shark, Wildcat, Will Jong, William Zito, Window Void, Wintar, Wob Buffett 64, Wolfster J, Wyatt Bus, X Clock X Animations, Xenon Virus, Exo Mapping, XX Bombs Away XX, Years Animations, Yellow Jello 12 Gaming, Yesoin, YP Co-Productions, YTP Machine 123, Zachary Riddle, Zero Karina, Zai Midge Gaiman, Zoro Arc 65, Z Rage, Evie Likes Toast, Sorry I don't speak Hebrew, and sorry I don't speak Korean, but it's still really great that you're joining, and see you in TWOW 1B! Welcome to TWOW 1B. If you don't know what's going on, go watch TWOW 0A, 0B, and 1A first. Okay, here we go. A whopping 808 people voted 982 times. nmason78 made a good point about how, when voters omit responses, they're usually omitting the bad ones and listing the good ones. So now, these guys are punished and these guys are rewarded, and the average is still 50%. Some of you are concerned that no one would find your response. Well, you don't need to fear because every entry was voted on at least 7 times. The maximum votes an entry got was 53. The number of votes a response got is completely random. Okay, so I asked you, what happened to the 31st of November? Out of all 491 responses, the top response received an amazing average percentile of 84.55%. Whose was it? Was it yours? Well, it's... November was bad at Monopoly and had to trade it. By Yasoen. Congratulations, Yasoen. You're our first round winner, and you'll be getting the opportunity to write 2 responses for TWOW 2. Here's the rest of the top 20. In other words, the top 4%. People in gold will get the double response prize. With the response, December came and swept it under the carpet, typical December. That commenter did the best out of all baguette contestants. Those extra 10 percentage points made the difference between 18th place and 2nd place. 3 top 10ers talked about budget cuts, 2 talked about interactions between months, and I'm really loving that pun, Phantom Infinity. PaintSpot Infez mentioned BFDI, and the Donuts 42 came up with the proposition that November 31 is actually December 0. The standard deviation column tells you how much voters' ratings differed on the same response. It essentially tells you how much the voters disagreed. Therefore, the most controversial response, aka the one with the biggest standard deviation, was Chavo Mixel Commentaries, I sent it. P.S. I know you probably sent some other actual response, and I tried my hardest to find it, but I just couldn't. The most agreeable response, aka the smallest standard deviation, was AN9K's I want to join TWOW, though I'm guessing you also sent an actual response, and I also can't find that. To survive, you needed to land in the top 393. Did you make it? Here are the next few pages of contestants. If you're in the red region, you're out. These 98 TWOW contestants who have found themselves in the red region must face the end of their journey so shortly after it began. These are their final words before elimination. Goodbye, TWOWers, you will be missed. To summarize, here's who's still in and who's eliminated. If you're eliminated, you won't be able to send me any more responses for upcoming TWOW Season 1 prompts. To the remaining 393 of you, it's time for TWOW 2. What's the second prompt? How can you beat the cold during this winter season? You can only use 1-syllable words. This is okay. This is not okay. Try to be unique and think outside the box. Send your response to me via YouTube PM by January 2, 2016 at 10 PM UTC. I'm sure you already know, but you send a PM by clicking Send Message under the About tab on my channel. And of course, the 10 of you who rose to the gold region, you can submit 2 10-word responses to this prompt. Both will show up independently for voting in TWOW 2A, and whichever one scores higher will count. Baguetters, you don't get a 10-point advantage from here on out. Finally, did you feel like there was too much randomness in this round of TWOW? Don't worry, as the rounds progress, fewer responses to vote on, means more votes concentrated on each response, leading to a larger sample size and less randomness. So good luck to you all as we enter TWOW 2! It's time for TWOW 2A. So last episode, I asked you to answer the question, how can you beat the cold during this winter season, using only one-syllable words? Oh, by the way, the reason you're only able to say one-syllable words is because you're shivering so much from the cold that you can only mutter short sounds between the chattering of your teeth. Okay, so out of the 393 eligible TWOW contestants, I received responses from only 355 of them. I did not receive a response from these 38 contestants, which means these guys will be eliminated. Sorry guys. Note, it's possible you might have changed your username before sending your response, in which case I couldn't find it. I kept wavering back and forth on how to deal with this, but I settled on this policy. Even if you change your YouTube username during TWOW, your TWOW username must stay the same throughout the whole season. That means from then on, you've got to mention your old username, spelled correctly and in full, within the message every time you send in a response. Think of it this way, to prevent confusion for fellow contestants and future viewers, the 491 names everyone saw at the beginning of TWOW will stay the same for the course of the game. The one exception is James, whose actual YouTube username is James Cooper. Okay, onto the submissions for you voters to vote on. Remember, you viewers can vote whether you're a contestant or not by commenting on this video. So how do you vote? Pause the video at a random spot in the green rectangle. Type the keyword you see in the upper right, space. Rank the entries from best to worst using these letters. Surround it with square brackets. Done. You can comment other stuff too, and you can vote more than once. I won't mark if a response uses a multi-syllable word, but voters, you've got to be perceptive and vote this response appropriately for breaking the rule. Secondly, we need to talk. In TWOW 1, you guys ranked this entry as top 10, but you eliminated this one. Both included good puns. I think you guys saw that 12 and instantly ranked it low. But you should have seen that these two words didn't really count, so just don't be so harsh and use good judgment. Out of the 355 entries, the 10 with the highest votes will get this prize. They'll tell me their favorite word, which will come into play in TWOW 3. I'll be PMing you if you get this prize, so contestants, be sure to check your PMs frequently. The bottom 20%, or 71, TWOWers will be eliminated. Okay, let's show the entries. Before I go, I want to show you some stats from TWOW 1. Here's a histogram showing the number of entries that landed in each 5 percentile chunk. More people landed in the bottom 25% than the top 25%, which suggests that voters can easily identify and agree on responses they dislike, but they can't agree on which ones they like. Finally, when I told you to click at a random part in the green rectangle in TWOW 1A, this is where you guys actually clicked. Enough delays already, let's get right into TWOW 2B, or not to be. I asked you, how can you beat the cold during this winter season, using only one-syllable words? 355 contestants submitted responses. Since 10 of them had a double response prize, there were a total of 365 entries, which coincidentally is also the number of days in a year. 749 people cast 897 votes. It went down slightly, which makes me think that some of you who got eliminated stopped voting. With 13 votes, the top response received an average percentile of 81.75%. Lower than last time, but still impressive. Do you think it was yours? It's time for the big reveal! The winner is... Ping Pong Cup Shots, with their response, one good way is to stay at home all day. Which, to be honest, looks pretty simple at first, but it's got a nice rhyme to it, and every word is one syllable. No other top 10er surpassed 80%. Jumma Talk encouraged brutal human on cloud violence, whereas SC9849 favored kindness between humans and animals. 3 TWOWers, including Baguetter Nihao Gailan, reached the top 10 with their clever use of puns. XX Bombs Away XX mentioned Trump. Donald Trump was also mentioned in TWOW 1. Will there be a Trump entry in every episode? Brand Utger says you just need to jump in some fire, but Candy Creeper argues that the solution starts from the inside, not the outside. Phantom Infinity reached the top 10 last episode, so they got the prize of submitting 2 responses instead of just 1. Well, Phantom surprised us again by getting both responses in the top 20. Remember, only the top 1 counts, so the bottom 1 isn't ranked. This is also true for the rest of the top 10 in TWOW 1. The most controversial response was Riley's "You can cut up dogs and bathe in their blood." I can see why. The least controversial response was SBEM14's "You'll be warm if your blood has not run cold." Somehow, mentioning blood either makes your response really hard to agree on or really easy to agree on. So, out of the remaining 355 contestants, you needed to rank in the top 284 to make it to TWOW 3. Did you survive? Here's the rest of the leaderboard. If you're in the red region, you're out. Today is the day we part with another batch of innocent TWOWers. Even after you 71 leave, we will always remember your presence, forever. At least you guys can say you beat 98 other people, so you're not leaving empty-handed. Secondly, I have to make an apology to 2 TWOWers. Marview actually did send me a response for TWOW 2, but it got sent to my spam. Even though it felt kinda spammy, I should have been able to find it. Secondly, I accidentally cut off the first letter of Jacob the person's entry, and he missed the threshold by only 4 spots. Both of these eliminations weren't ideal. As compensation, I'll give you guys a shout out. Marview! Jacob the person! Let's dive deep into TWOW 2 stats. First of all, here's the score distribution histogram, quite symmetrical this time. Next, now that we've been TWOWing for a while, I wonder who our skilled masters are. Who is consistently ranking high? Well, Phantom Infinity, Meester Tweester, and Jerry76 Likes Trees make the top 3 for best worst rank. What about the opposite? Who is surviving each round, but by the narrowest margin each time? I kinda like living life on the edge, so I'm gonna give this a positive spin. Most efficient. Here, iAnimate38, Zachary Rydall, and Solarbolt 4 each snatched one of the last 30 safe spots both times. That's pretty cool, but now I want to see everyone, not just the top 3. And is there a strong correlation between TWOW 1 performance and TWOW 2 performance? If I plot TWOW 1 scores on the x-axis and TWOW 2 scores on the y-axis, I get this scatter plot. Notice there are no points to the left of the TWOW 1 threshold. That's because people who got eliminated in TWOW 1 didn't get to participate in TWOW 2. Still, it appears like there's very little correlation between the 2 episodes, which suggests TWOW 3 is anybody's game. Here's a close-up of the center region of that scatter plot. Object Awards was the only contestant to get the same rank in both TWOW episodes. To summarize, here's who's still in and who's eliminated. If you're eliminated, you won't be able to send me any more responses for upcoming TWOW Season 1 prompts. For the remaining 284 of you, it's time for TWOW 3. Now, I told you the top 10 contestants of TWOW 2 would tell me their favorite words, but after 4 days, only 4 of them responded. So that favorite word thing will be postponed to TWOW 4. Instead, here's the prompt for TWOW 3. You are sent to explore the Earth's 8th continent, which humanity has somehow only discovered in 2016. Once you arrive, you realize why ancient humans tried to keep it secret from modern civilization. Reason. Your response has to be 10 words or fewer, but other than that, there are no restrictions. Submit by January 21st, 2016 at 10 PM UTC. As for the top 10ers of TWOW 2, in addition to writing your response, tell me your favorite word, and that'll come into play in TWOW 4 only if most of you send me your favorite word. The top 10 of TWOW 3 will get a different prize, a 5 percentage point advantage for you and 3 other contestants of your choice for TWOW 4. These advantages can stack. That's it. Have fun with TWOW 3. Goodbye! It's time for TWOW 3A. Today is 123, which means that the scale of the universe just turned 6 years old. Hooray! I can't believe I was 12.8 when I first made it, and now I'm 18.8. I'm getting old quickly. But this date always makes me happy because it reminds me of the passion and excitement I felt when I first created the scale of the universe. Even though the people around me, with every passing year, grow less and less imaginative and eager to create, and more submissive and conformist, there will always be that spark that got me excited to wake up to create stagecast sims in the morning, that motivated me to turn fiery into Battle for Dream Island, and that encouraged me to turn boring numbers of scientific notation into the scale of the universe. I could go on and on about that all day, but it's time to TWOW. So first of all, last time, Jerusalem Stray Cat and Quinson Han got the exact same average percentile. From now on, this is how I'm going to break ties. If your average percentile is the same, then the one with the bigger standard deviation wins, to encourage exciting responses over bland ones. If that ties, the one with the most votes will win. And if that ties, I'll see who did better on just the first vote, and then just the second vote, and so on. If after all that, 2 people still tie, that must mean there's a glitch in the universe and the apocalypse must be near. Secondly, Edtrin Gaming had a degree symbol in his response, but it didn't show up because the font I'm using doesn't have that character. Sorry about that. For future responses, just be wary of using non-standard characters because there's a chance they might not show up. All ASCII characters should be fine. Thirdly, don't forget that responses less than 10 words are generally acceptable, to me at least. I didn't receive a response from these 20 contestants, which means you guys will be eliminated. Sorry guys. At least we've got a better turnout than last time. Now it's time for voting, which is only open until January 25th, 2016 at 10 PM UTC. Remember, you viewers can vote whether you're a contestant or not by commenting on this video. So how do you vote? Pause the video at a random spot in the green rectangle. Type the keyword you see in the upper right, space. Rank the entries from best to worst using these letters. Surround it with square brackets. Done. You can comment other stuff too, and you can vote more than once. So I gave you this prompt. You are sent to explore Earth's 8th continent, which humanity has somehow only discovered in 2016. Once you arrive, you realize why ancient humans tried to keep it secret from modern civilization. What did our contestants have to say? Let's find out! Okay, that's it. Bye! Oh my TWOW, we're already at TWOW 3B. I want to say that all you viewers' participation with submitting entries and voting and whatnot make me so happy. I love the enthusiasm. I remember thinking before TWOW started, it might not work out, Well, it looks like so far, it's working out just fine. Secondly, I accidentally cut the first 3 words off of Hazel Cricket's TWOW 3 response. So here's my new policy for when I input your response incorrectly, which is less than 1% of the time. If it's minor, like just a single character missing without you being warned, then I'll give you a 5% bonus to compensate. If it's more major, like Hazel's 3 missing words, then I'll give you a 10% bonus to compensate. It might be more depending on the circumstances. But do you know what that means? In TWOW 2, Jacob the Person and Edtrin Gaming both had a character missing and fell less than 5% below the threshold. So I'm bringing them back! Do you hear that, Jacob and Ed? Even though you didn't get to compete in TWOW 3, you can submit a response for TWOW 4 and onward. While I'm at it, I'll also bring back Marview since the input error was essentially 100%. So I'll give Marview a 100% advantage, sort of. So welcome back, Jacob, Ed, and Mar. So, 642 voters cast 791 votes. It went down again, but that's okay. As long as the votes don't go down as fast as the number of eligible contestants, which they're not, we're totally fine. No entries average percentiles tied, but some did come within 0.002%. Vote counts per entry ranged from a low of 10 to a high of 60. So I gave you this prompt. You are sent to explore Earth's 8th continent, which humanity has somehow only discovered in 2016. Once you arrive, you realize why ancient humans try to keep it secret from modern civilization. And 264 of you responded. With 20 votes, the top response stood out from the rest of the pack at 77.33%. Was it your response? The answer is yes, if you happen to be Sergeant Snivy, with the response, "It had cute cats," which the ancients wanted for themselves. Congrats, Sergeant Snivy, you beat out 263 other competitors with your adorable answer. Here's the rest of the top 20. Astonishingly, Jumatalk scored his 2nd silver medal in a row. Jumatalk is the first contestant to reach the top 5 twice, yet alone the top 2 twice, so good job to you. I like how this prompt could either imply that the 8th continent was really nice or really not nice. Both worked. Ronan, that was actually a really clever pun that works well with the prompt. And Swim Swam, I can see you're up to date on the latest Jack and Jelfie current events. Meaning, like, all 1 of them. Now Jerry76, you wanted me to pronounce this word in my video, but I said I wouldn't unless it hit the top 10, and I was sure I was safe because top 10 is hard to get to, but voters surprise me every time. Hey, I tried my best. Lego TD61 implied Wi-Fi is really important, but Fry UAJ suggested that Wi-Fi used to create vines is the exact opposite. 2 budget cut entries reached the top 10 this time. That must be the trick, right? Mention budget cuts and you'll get in the top 10, it seems. Deep Data 1 claimed that the 8th continent is where the ancients hide their porn. I'd like to point out that it's the 2nd most controversial response of the top 10. But what was the most controversial response of all? XX bombs away XX's response. The terrain couldn't grow weed, therefore unsustainable for human life. I guess marijuana is controversial, both in and out of politics. The least controversial response was Harry Odiakosa's Trump and Adolf called in to blow it up in 2017. I think it's interesting that the overall winner is also one of the most agreeable. Okay, so did you survive? Out of the 264 contestants who did TWOW 3, only the top 211 will survive, and the bottom 53 will be eliminated. Let's see where they all placed. If you're in the red region, you're out. The third TWOWian tragedy has taken the lives of another 53 precious TWOWers. As their numbers dwindle, each loss is felt more and more intensely. We will never forget. To summarize, here's who's still in and who's eliminated. If you're eliminated, you won't be able to send me any more responses for upcoming TWOW Season 1 prompts. Ranks of eliminated contestants changed a little bit because of Jacob, Ed, and Mar rejoining. If you're still in, that means you've made it to the final 214, past the halfway point. Good job, contestants! You can be certain that at the end of TWOW, you will have beaten more people than people that have beaten you. One interesting thing to note, TWOW 1 had 3 responses that mentioned Trump. TWOW 2 had just 1, by XX Bombs Away XX. What about TWOW 3? 27 people, more than 10%, mentioned Trump. Out of these 27, the average percentile was 46.94%, which is 3 percentage points below the true average. Okay, so to the remaining 211 of you, along with Jacob, Ed, and Mar, you get to participate in TWOW 4. The top 10 TWOWers of TWOW 2 gave us these 10 words to work with: juxtaposition, Farsi, aardvark, sunny, snake, awkward, factory, world, dodecahedron, and anti-disestablishmentarianism. Your job? Try to use as many of these words as you can in a coherent response. You can choose which words you want to use. Don't just string out all 10 words, because that sentence makes no sense, and voters will vote it down. But also don't mention 0 words, because that ruins the point of this challenge. Try to find a middle ground, like 2 to 4 words. If you spell these words correctly, I'll highlight them in the voting video, so voters can easily tell how many you used. Try to incorporate these words in a clever, funny, or creative way. You have lots of freedom this time, so use it well. As for the top 10 TWOWers of episode 3, you get a 5% bonus, and you can give 3 other contestants who are still in a 5% bonus. In your PM to me, include both your response and list those 3 people you'd like to help out. The prizes for the top 10 TWOWers of episode 4 will be announced in the next episode. The submission deadline will be January 31st, 2016 at 10 PM UTC. So contestants, try to foray into the top 10 as we enter TWOW 4A. Time for TWOW 4A. Let's make this one short. So this was the prompt. Try to use as many of these words as you can in a coherent response. Juxtaposition, Farsi, aardvark, sunny, snake, awkward, factory, world, dodecahedron, and anti-disestablishmentarianism. Out of the 214 eligible contestants, I did not receive a response from these 12, which means you guys will be eliminated. Goodbye, you dozen. On the other hand, turnout is going up and up with each episode. So, with 202 entries, contestants need to land in the top 162 to be safe. The bottom 40 will be the next ones to be mercilessly kicked off the show. The prize for the top 10 contestants will be the same double response prize as TWOW 1, which means you can submit 2 responses for TWOW 5 and only the best one will count. But there's a special twist this time. Among the top 10ers of TWOW 4, whoever gets the lowest voter response in TWOW 5 automatically qualifies for the TWOW 6 response as well. Since they get 2 responses anyway, there's a bit more safety, but it's still a risk. Note, if you get this prize, you can still choose not to attempt this worst response. So now it's time to vote, which you can do up until February 4, 2016 at 10 PM UTC. Here are the voting instructions again. Remember, you viewers can vote whether you're a contestant or not by commenting on this video. So how do you vote? Pause the video at a random spot in the green rectangle. Type the keyword you see in the upper right, space. Rank the entries from best to worst using these letters. Surround it with square brackets. Done. You can comment other stuff too, and you can vote more than once. Any appearance of the 10 special words along with their derivatives will be highlighted red so you can tell. Let's reveal the responses. That's all I've got for you. I'll announce who's getting the 5% bonuses from TWOW 3 winners, as well as the overall voting results in TWOW 4B. Hello there, TWOW 4B is just about to start. Some of you might have heard this already. I'm actually not going to have that twist I mentioned in the last video. The prize for TWOW 4 is a double response prize, plain and simple. Next, let's see who's getting those 5% bonuses from TWOW 3. Deep Data 1 wanted me to choose 3 random people who used the word anti-disestablishmentarianism to get the prize. So I did randomly choose, and these are the 3 people I got. Jumma Talk, Nihao Gailan, Sumnerd the Pie Guy, and Years Animations were lucky enough to get 10% each. So you know what the prompt was? Try to use as many of these 10 words as you can in a coherent response. 487 voters cast 672 votes. All responses got between 17 and 60 votes. Who won? Well, astonishingly, the number 1 contestant got 76.48% without the help of any prize points. And that person, if you can believe it or not, is John Petrucci, with his response, breaking news, world's first dodecahedron factory closes after aardvark attack. If we ignore prizes, John actually beat second place by a whopping 6%, which is the largest gap in TWOW history. Also, 2 Johns got the top 2 spots. What a coincidence! Can I just say that we have too many awkward aardvarks? I'm starting to feel like there are more fictional aardvarks in TWOW than there are real aardvarks on Earth. 42 out of 202 entries used the phrase awkward aardvark, but its commonness didn't hurt performance. Entries with this phrase got an average pre-prize score of 50.39%. But that leaves me wondering, how often were each of the 10 words used? This much. Clearly, longer words are harder to use. So that's cool and all, but which words impressed the voters the most? I'll find this out by taking the average score of all entries that used that word. Well, I was surprised by how similarly each word performed. But anti-disestablishmentarianism came out on top with an average percentile of 52.32%, and Farsi came out on the bottom with an average percentile of 48.96%. Astonishingly, the words are sorted perfectly by their length. 5 of the top 10 responses talked about cruel factory working conditions. Hazel Cricket's response sounds like an ad for worlds that are produced in factories. Poilik098 and Ronin, good job on using juxtaposition correctly. After all, it was the hardest to use word. Whiskerando, somehow with using only 2 words, you still hit the top 10, maybe thanks to mentioning yoyleberries. And Reed Posey, you managed to use alliteration on 7 out of 10 words, but Joseph Howard beat you with 9 out of 10, though it could have been a 10 out of 10. Here's some other people who alliterated very well. There's not much special to note about controversial responses. Anyway, did you survive? Out of the 202 entries, you needed to land in the top 162 to be safe. We're doing things a bit differently this time. These 62 people haven't found themselves on the leaderboard yet, and there's only 22 safe spots left. Let's see who's safe and who's not. We part with the souls of another 20 TWOWers. Your participation on the show has made our lives so much richer, and TWOW will never be the same without you. They used to always say, once a TWOWer, always a TWOWer. The same is true for you. Your contributions will never be forgotten. How many of those 10 words did responses typically use? I recommended 2 to 4, but the average pulled way ahead at 4.31. Here's a histogram of the data, ranging from 0 words in Gabe LaSalle's response, which I secretly hoped would win, to 9 words in Dee and Ed's response. Nobody used all 10. Although I thought that using too many words made responses too stilted and forced, it appears that using more words actually did help a little bit, unless you're Whiskerando. Okay, moving on. I'm bringing Meester Tweester back because it looks like it was just a YouTube PM bug that prevented me from receiving their TWOW 4 response. So that means 163 of you will be competing in TWOW 5. With only 163 contestants left, you guys are in the top 1/3. To summarize, here's who's still in and who's eliminated. If you're eliminated, you won't be able to send me any more responses for upcoming TWOW Season 1 prompts. The 5th prompt is, write a haiku about plants. A haiku is a short poem of lines that have 5, 7, and 5 syllables each. You still have to follow the 10-word maximum. And also, if your worried line breaks won't show up well in the voting video, don't fear because I'll use slashes to indicate new lines. Top 10ers of TWOW 4, you get to submit 2 haikus and only the higher voted one will count. That's it. The submission deadline will be February 10, 2016 at 10 PM UTC. TWOW 5 prizes will be announced in the next video. I'll see you then. What's that? TWOW 5A was uploaded within 9 hours of the submission period ending? The sky must be falling! Well, actually it's not, but the length of our prompts is. The 5th prompt was the shortest so far. Write a haiku about plants. It still had to be 10 words or fewer. Also, I forgot to mention, haikus don't have to rhyme, but they can if you want. Out of our 163 little munchkins, I did not receive a response from these 11, which means you guys will be eliminated. I am so sorry. Since we lost 11 players, but gained 10 extra responses from the TWOW 4 prize, there are 162 entries to vote on. You need to land in the top 122 out of 152 to be safe, and the bottom 30 will be eliminated. What will be the prize if you hit the top 10? You get to choose any other contestant who's still in to be your sidekick.
What's a sidekick?
You might ask? Well, if your sidekick places lower than you, nothing happens. Sidekicks can't drag you down. But if your sidekick places higher than you will move up the leaderboard to directly below your sidekick. This is true even if you would otherwise be eliminated. And the first place prize gets to pick 2 sidekicks. If you pick wisely, you can vastly increase your chances of top 10ing again. Sidekicks only last for 1 episode, TWOW 6. Top 10ers can choose other top 10ers as sidekicks, and can even choose the same sidekick. But if a sidekick pulls multiple people up, whoever ranked higher originally will end up closest to the sidekick after the pull-up. So now it's time to vote, which you can do up until February 12, 2016 at 10 PM UTC. Here are the voting instructions again. Remember, you viewers can vote whether you're a contestant or not by commenting on this video. So how do you vote? Pause the video at a random spot in the green rectangle. Type the keyword you see in the upper right, space. Rank the entries from best to worst using these letters. Surround it with square brackets. Done. You can comment other stuff too, and you can vote more than once. And let's see what our contestants had to say. So which one was the best haiku, and which one was the worst? All will be revealed in TWOW 5B! Whoa whoa whoa! 2 TWOW videos within 72 hours? That's crazy! Anyway, you know how it goes. The prompt was, write a haiku about plants, and 152 contestants submitted 162 responses to that prompt. Last episode, 450 voters cast 646 votes on those responses. Every response got between 22 and 62 votes. Let's see what TWOW 5's top response was. Surprisingly, it won with a low top percentage of 70.58%. I kind of expected this percentage to go down gradually because of larger sample sizes, but not this quickly. Maybe haikus are just harder to distinguish. Anyway, the winner is D and Ed, who said, "Photosynthesis keeps everyone here alive. Plants, thank you so much." Amazing job, D and Ed. You're our 5th round winner. Here's the rest of the top 20. While D and Ed wanted us to be grateful for our autotrophic friends, Tak Ajnin argued that they're untrustworthy, so now I don't know who to believe. And also, Jamatok, what the heck? 4 consecutive top 10 responses? Seriously, how are you doing so well? Your pun was great, but it only used one element. SpicyMan33 pulled off an impressive 2-part pun, appropriately earning him 2nd place. Connor O'Malley, Quinn Ruddy, and XX all incorporated rhymes to get into the top 10. But Quinn Ruddy's risque 2nd line made their response the most controversial of the top 10. Mike Ramsey, it is strange that eggplants aren't eggs, but is that really groundbreaking? And near-death survivor from last time, Tyler Chai, appears to be an Undertale fan. BeanMe100, you've just got to be more responsible in the future. Tisk tisk. But what was the most controversial response of all? Blue Lucario98 mentioned non-slip shoes so ha, which seemed to divide the public into those who like BFDI and those who don't like responses that go over the word limit. On the other hand, Christian the Weaver's response seemed pretty agreeable though, with a standard deviation of 18.15%. So, did you make it over the threshold? You needed to land in the top 122 to survive. Let's see how you TWOWers did. So 97 people have been declared safe, and 55 people have not. There's only 25 safe spots remaining. These 30 TWOWers have met the most unfortunate circumstances that have led to their tragic extinctions. Though they might not have haikued as well as they would have liked, we will remember them for the great accomplishments they have achieved over their lifetimes. Farewell, you 30. So some general observations. Photosynthesis was a TWOW favorite word this time, with 20 contestants using it. Having exactly 5 syllables, it provided an easy one-word first or last line, and it gave responses a slight boost in percentage, 51.88% on average. Also, here are the voter rating distributions of Blue Lucario98 and Christian the Weaver's responses, which were the most and least controversial. We've been TWOWing for 5 prompts now. Has any TWOWers ranks consistently improved every time? Yes, in fact, 6 people have. D and Ed, Green Ninja Lizard 123, Midnight Light, Red Adam A Anything Ever, Rinkrat02, and Tapita Man, who was the last person to snatch a safe spot in TWOW 1. Nobody has gone down in rank every time though.
To summarize, here's who's still in and who's eliminated. If you're eliminated, you won't be able to send me any more responses for upcoming TWOW Season 1 prompts.
Also, this book montage thingy had a few errors in TWOW 4B and 5A, but it should be all fixed now. So, Final 122, how does it feel to be in the final quarter of TWOWers? You are literally the best of the best, or more accurately, the better of the better. I'm very excited to announce the 6th TWOW prompt. Are you ready? Here it is! What should the 7th TWOW prompt be? That's right, in 10 words or fewer, you get to tell me what TWOW 7's prompt should be. And, believe it or not, the #1 voted response of TWOW 6 will actually become the TWOW 7 prompt. What? That means if your response is good enough, all your fellow contestants will have to respond to it. So cool. And top 10ers of TWOW 5, you get the sidekick prize, which I explained in the last video, but there's a slight change. You have to pick someone outside the top 10 to be your sidekick. And like I mentioned before, if your sidekick places below you, nothing happens. But if your sidekick places higher than you, you'll rise up the leaderboard to directly below your sidekick. Sidekicks are only in effect for one episode, TWOW 6. And first place D and Ed, you can choose 2 sidekicks and only the higher sidekick will count. So top 10ers, type those sidekicks usernames in your PMs to me, right below your TWOW 6 response. The submission deadline will be February 16, 2016 at 10 PM UTC. I'm so excited to see what responses, that are also prompts, you guys have in store for TWOW 6/7!